What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Young Legends Podcast. I'm your host, Caption, aka Caption Red, and I'm here to tell you that you need to go out and give some honest and sincere appreciation. Now, the last episode was about not criticizing, condemning, and complaining, and we're going to focus on another word that starts with C, which is C-section. Now, I'm totally kidding. Let me get that image out of your head real quick. Not C-section. Did that work? Probably not. Anyways, the real C word we're focusing on is compliment. Now, Carnegie stated in this book, there's only one way to get a person to want to do something, and that's by giving them what they want. And what people want more than anything is to feel important. Now, that'll be a running theme throughout this book series and also throughout this podcast. But think about it. Don't you want to feel important? I know I want to feel important. Everybody wants to feel important, and if they don't, that means they're a little abnormal. Now, a person's deepest urge is the desire to feel important, the desire to be great. That's from Sigmund Freud, who is considered the father of psychology. You may have heard of him before, but that's the truth. We all want to feel important, we all want to be great, and we all want to feel appreciated. It's a craving. It's a craving like when a pregnant woman wants ice cream or to no longer have a child living inside of her. Now, that's not really a craving, but it's a really strong desire that I imagine kicks in around 8.5 months. But a craving, a deep desire to feel appreciated. You know who else has cravings? Drug addicts. That is the amount of power that compliments and appreciation have over us. They actually medically tested this, and the parts of your brain that light up when you get a compliment are the same parts of your brain that light up when you get money or when someone you like express romantic interest in you. That is the amount of power it has. See, every person walks around with an invisible sign on their forehead that says, "Make me feel important." That's why women want guys to buy them big diamond rings, because baby, I'm worth it. That's why we spend money on jewelry. That's why we spend money on clothes, ridiculous amounts of money on cars. That's why we have trophies. That's why we have trophy wives. That's why we have platinum plaques hanging on our walls. If you got one anyways. Now, true story, I've been to multiple people's houses who have worked in the music industry, and if they have a platinum plaque, it is right there, front and center for the whole world to see when you walk into their house, because they want to feel important, and they also want to remind themselves of the good things that they've done. And it's the same reason why people make bad choices in life, because they want to feel important and because they also want to feel good. That's why John D. Rockefeller stacked up all that money, even though he had more money than he could ever spend in his entire life. That's why I wear my championship belt into my hot tub, see? Now, I'm just kidding. I don't have a hot tub, but my gym has a hot tub, and I get a lot of looks when I'm wearing my championship belt in the hot tub, and I'm pretty sure they're looks of envy. People are jealous of my championship belt, my wrestling belt, see? That's what I'm talking about. But we all have a desire to feel important and the desire to feel good, and that's oftentimes why people make bad choices. But remember that there are positive ways to go about this, and that you can get good feelings from doing positive things as well. Now, George Washington. When we think of George Washington, we think of this humble servant leader who was one of the founding fathers, who did so much for our country. But you know what George Washington made people address him as? His Mightiness, the President of the United States. That's ridiculous. That's like something Kanye West would do. But that all ties into our desire to feel important. And this is the reason why social media is so powerful and the reason why it'll never go away. Because it helps us feel important. It helps us to show off the highlight reel of our lives. And for some people, to show off a fake life, if we're going to be honest. Now, don't be that guy that empties out his bank account to flash a bunch of hundreds in his face. That's all the money you got, bro. And that's probably your mom's money, dude. But if feeling important is our number one need, then how do we feel it for other people? By lavishing praise, appreciation, and encouragement. Make it rain. Be generous with praise, appreciation, and encouragement. See, Dale Carnegie says in his book, most people say nothing when things are good and complain when things are bad. But you're going to do the opposite of that. You're going to say something when things are good, and you're not going to complain when things are bad. Because Carnegie points out, people do a lot better under the spirit of approval than under the spirit of criticism. The spirit of criticism. Have you ever seen this? You ever see parents of an athlete who are riding their kid because the kid's not performing up to their expectations? But that kid is doing their very best. See, that 5-year-old at t-ball practice can only swing the bat as well as a 5-year-old can. And that's why you got to get off their back, mom and dad. Dad, let's be honest, it's usually dad. And this is the reason why wives and girlfriends leave their husbands and boyfriends. It's the number one reason. It's because of criticism. It's because of lack of appreciation, because that creates this toxic environment, this toxic energy between them. What oftentimes happens is the wife or the girlfriend becomes reciprocal. And reciprocal is this big word that basically means giving back what you get. And when it's positive, that's great. But when it's negative, it's not. But the lack of appreciation, what it does is it creates this big, long, vicious cycle between the two people, and neither party feels appreciated. They stop saying kind things, and the next thing you know, you're on divorce court with, I don't even know who runs divorce court. There's been a million people running it. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is the lack of appreciation and the lack of compliments and the lack of kindness ruins every relationship. Now, you're probably not married, but here's the thing. This affects every relationship because you might not be married, but you're in friend relationships, you're in romantic relationships, and you're in a relationship with every single person that you are in contact with. Whether it's a father-son relationship, a mother-son relationship, a daughter-husband relationship. Daughter-husband, what does that even mean? I'm scared to even go there. That's just weird and scary. Let's keep moving. Teacher-student, worker-manager, it doesn't matter. This happens in all human relationships. Now, there's a story in the book where this husband is approached by his wife, and his wife is in this group of women who are all trying to improve themselves. And she steps to him and says, "What are the top 6 things that you would change about me?" Now, the husband thought about it, and he says to himself, I could easily come up with 6 things. Instead, what he does the next day is he gives her a vase full of 6 roses, and he has a note attached, and it says, I can't think of 6 things that I would change about you. I love you the way you are. And the woman was so touched by it, and then she went and told her friends what happened, and so many of them were like, yo, that is the most considerate thing I've ever heard. And she appreciated so deeply the phrase, I love you just the way you are. And I guarantee you that she became a better wife, and she was more encouraged by the kindness that she was shown. And that's why you got to show kindness and appreciation. Are people perfect? Of course not. But you got to love them, and you got to show them appreciation. Now, there is a time to show constructive criticism. And remember, constructive criticism is when you have the other person's best interest in mind. And make sure that you do it with kindness, that you deliver it with things like a compliment sandwich. Now, coming back to the whole idea of showing appreciation, if you're at a restaurant and you have a good waiter, if you have a good teacher, if you have a good father, if you have a good friend, show them appreciation. Say thank you. Tell them why you appreciate them. Tell them why you're grateful for them. And when you do, it'll light up their world. And if someone has cool personal attributes, if they're hardworking, if they're funny, if they're kind, if they're deep, if they're honest, if they're humble, if you see something, say something. And you can even compliment physical attributes. You ever notice women on social media? Women on social media do this all the time. They compliment each other. They tell each other how beautiful they are. And the reason why they do that is because they understand that other women need to feel important, other women need to feel beautiful, and therefore they let the compliments fly. Now, you can compliment someone's physical attributes. Just be careful when, where, and to whom you're delivering these to. For example, a stranger in a public restroom, probably not a good idea. But there are things that you can say to people in the right context where you compliment their clothes, their shoes, their hair, their teeth. That's usually a pretty safe one. Look for things to compliment, but don't flatter people. Andrew Carnegie says that flattery is cheap and it's unearned. You know what flattery is? Flattery is telling someone who's 300 pounds that they're skinny. See, that's dishonest. And people aren't stupid. Carnegie says in the book, flattery is counterfeit. And like counterfeit money, it'll get you in a lot of trouble. And in all reality, it's worse than saying nothing at all. Now, this is not about putting people on a pedestal. This is not about kissing people's butts. Don't put yourself down. Don't make yourself to be inferior. But what'll happen is with the right people, and when I say right people, I mean the kind of people you want to hang out with, the right people will reciprocate. And they will say kind words to you, and they will show their appreciation to you. And when they do, you'll feel good, they'll feel good, everyone will feel good, as long as it's not flattery or any kind of BS. Now, what Carnegie says about this is he says this is a new way of life. This is not something that you do sometimes. This is a new way of life. To go around to show appreciation, to make people feel important, to spread kindness. And there's no substitute for this. Everyone needs to hear kind words. And if you do this, if you spread kindness and appreciation, and if you make people feel important, you're going to end up becoming everyone's favorite person. And that's how you make friends and influence people. Boom. Now, that's it. That's what I got for this episode. I hope you learned something. I hope you got something out of this. And if you have any questions about this or anything at all, feel free to email me at younglegendspodcast@gmail.com. And we'll pick up on this series in the next episode. But until next time, peace out.